Looks like we're finally out for delivery. More dryer lint for the birdies. Well, it hit about 57 degrees Fahrenheit this morning. Feels pretty good right now. I'm sure the kids are going to start waking up cold and not wanting to get out of bed. Back area there, you can't even tell by looking, but there's like 4 or 5 inches of water. And I walked over there to talk to the neighbor last night. And I ruined my shoes. I had to dry them, my shoes and my socks, because they got soaked. The impatiens are all happy. They've survived the summer and the drought, and it's fall. They're full of flowers. Some more impatiens, a begonia, more impatiens, some weeds growing in here we need to pull. Right there's probably a jackfruit seedling that's popping up. That's probably the first one of all those jackfruit seeds. Comfrey is looking bad, but it may be, cool weather. It may be starting to bounce back, but it did not do well the last month or two. These yellow marigolds are actually the seedlings to the marigolds we bought earlier, spring, summer, or whatever. So those already died. We collected the seeds, and I just put like a seed or two in this pot, and it came back. Now the dianthus, I believe them are all the originals. They just didn't die yet. Found some old lentils, and I think we're gonna just put that in the stinkwater bucket. This persimmon's good?
Yeah.
Yum, yum. Why didn't you eat the peel? You don't like the peel?
No.
A little bit hard and leathery, huh?
Still, later on, when we get back inside, I'm gonna eat this one.
You're gonna eat a second persimmon?
Yeah, when we get it back inside.
Ooh-wee. That's gonna be good, ain't it? So if you guys have been following the stolen land video and stuff, I just want to briefly show you guys something. This is where the survey flags were just put up right here, and the stolen property is everything between that survey line and that back fence. I think it's even further back another foot. So based on how the deed to the family property back there is, there's an extra foot, I think. So they got 16 by 75, and that whole section between that shed there where that post is to here, which is 75 foot by 16, was the property that the crooked lawyer and I'm saying this, if you haven't watched that video, the lawyer is the one we hired, and it's possible that the neighbors hired the same lawyer, which is, a conflict of interest. I don't know. And he said, give me $5,000. This is like somewhere like 1982 or something, to get what was probably around $100 but less than $200 worth of property. My parents did not want to fight the issue. They claimed adverse possession, which is a lie, because the neighbors did not put the fence up there where they had their garden. It was actually a cattle run, which was like 18 or 24 inches or something high, from the previous owner's mother that ran cattle and gave all this property to, or not this property, but a lot of property to the Florida Baptist Association to build their churches and possibly a pastor's home and all this stuff. Only like one plot or one lot of property was used, less than 2 acres, I think, for that church. And one of the plots across the street was sold recently, I think last year or something, to the city. And this was some of the land, I guess, that the woman that died, the son got and sold to us. I honestly don't know if there is a legal deed to that property over there, but there is a legal document in the courthouse, and I'm assuming, unless these new investors or buyers want to give us back the property, which is not going to happen, this is swampland, but I'm assuming those people will probably put it all on a single deed. But for now, that's the property marker. 16 foot away, you know, from our property. Let's just make one thing clear. There is no right of way to that 16 by 75 foot lot. You know, there's no way to access it. Not even on the property I'm standing on. You would have to go to where my parents had their property. Finally sort of tied this Deanna fig up that was laying down, and you can see that's not the way it wants to grow, but this will hopefully help it maybe get the roots a little bit more established. I think we're going to have to put something around it to try to coax the roots to come up a little bit, maybe like a mycorrhizal raised post mycorrhizal bed or something around it, so that it's less likely to fall. And you know, in my last video I talked about possibly chopping this limb off so it's less weight pulling it this direction. But this is just temporary. You know, I need to go buy a bunch of cheap rope instead of using like a 50 or 70 foot piece here and just kind of wrapping it. That way I'll have more longer pieces and I can cut shorter pieces to, you know, tie stuff up. One more thing I like to mention about this property that was stolen from us. With inflation, you know, what my parents paid for the property per square foot plus what we paid that lawyer, you know, it probably equals to somewhere around $2,000 in today's prices. And so lost $2,000, and that's $2,000 in swampland, not, you know, real estate, not prime real estate in New York City. So keep that in mind. Some kind of plant, huh?
Yes.
Hopefully. What we've been waiting on. JJ's trying to... Yep, that's a pretty nice size. You know, this guy was supposed to come in on Monday. And as you can see, it's a fig tree. And maybe you can see Ronde De Bordeaux. This is one we've been looking for months. And no local nurseries carry this guy. Not the easiest thing to find in Florida. It's like they packed it in some kind of like sawdust mixture. Got a lot of roots on it. I'm gonna put it in a 3-gallon pot here. And there she is. We're gonna water it, top or bottom, I'm not sure. Make sure it's packed in well. This soil is full of earthworms, as you can see, wiggling around there. Good stuff. Give it some of our magic soil here from our magic soil area. There we go. We're gonna bottom soak it for a few hours, make sure everything gets moist, take it out, let it dry, and just set it to the side, and hopefully it does well for us. Out. Now, we've had elephant ears bloom before, but not our taro. Looks pretty much the same. Look at that, like 3+ flower heads. And check that out, there's a frog living in the bloom. He knows he's been seen, so he back down. So we finally figured out sort of the answer to when we're supposed to harvest sweet potatoes. It's when the tips start getting yellow or there is some dieback from the frosts. So the earliest minimum frosts, I guess, is when you start to harvest them. People harvest them, you know, even a month ago. In Florida, it's something like 120 days from planting the slips to harvesting. So they may count down and say it's been, you know, 120 days. Let's just get them. There could also be issues with like the rainy season, the hurricane season, and possible like tuber rot or something. That might be why they harvest before, you know, the frost. I ripped some of my pants, and did you guys know that Dockers are 100% cotton? That means they can go in your compost pile. Maybe they would take quite a while to compost, but you know, the magic soil experiments that we've done has said that within 2 to 3 months, these will disappear if you bury them. People may call it subterranean composting or, you know, a variety of other things. But, you know, just bury it in the ground. Put some other, like, weed sticks, grass clippings, whatever you want. And they'll disappear and turn into some kind of nutrients in your soil. There are a lot of haters out there that don't like the idea of subterranean composting and say, you know, that there's negatives about it, but you know, it seems to work, at least for certain types of plants. You know, like pumpkin supposedly will do really well with that compost, you know, and you can either compost it underneath, maybe even like a banana circle. Just throw your compost, throw your cotton, throw all this stuff underneath it, or you know, to the side of it, and let it compost down, and you know, let the roots have access to it. Got some charcoal started. Gonna make some turkey burgers, at least for me. Natalie, I guess, will eat a regular hamburger. We didn't really want to spend all day barbecuing or anything like a pork shoulder or anything like that. So do something a little bit quick. You know, we're starting to stop eat hot dogs, you know, and stuff like that, which really aren't good for you, colon cancer and all that. So hopefully we're, for the most part, done with hot dogs. We ate so many hot dogs, Hebrew Nationals mostly, and for a year or two. Hopefully everybody else has gotten tired of them so that I don't have to be forced to cook them. It is crazy around here, in my city, in my county. Not just in the household, but we went to Walmart. And, of course, after Hurricane Milton, I guess, decimated the store, there's still tons and tons of people shopping. Half of the products are still gone. Cookies, donuts, bread, soy milk. I don't know, I didn't look for milk since we had a little bit. Probably milk products and everything. You know, I think when I was there before the hurricane hit, I got like the last 2 coffee creamers. And I figured I didn't know when we'd be able to get back. You never knew if we're going to lose power, have some kind of issue, and we didn't want to, like 4 or 5 days or a week later, have to come back and see it's still not there. But we don't like overspend. We usually buy, like, even on the hurricane, 1 or 2 things of bread. We don't buy 5. We don't buy 50 things of toilet paper. You know, none of that stuff. Some people go crazy on it. Even waters, even when they have plenty of waters. We get sports tops for Natalie, like 2 small packs, 6, 8, 12, whatever, depending on the store. I think Walmart has smaller packs. Winn-Dixie has a slightly bigger pack. And then we'll do like just a regular Aquafina or something pack for us and the kids, because we don't have to have those sports tops. We have so much of this vine here, arrow vine or whatever it's called. There's and it goes up even over that cottonwood tree, sometimes 25, 30 foot in the air. Usually when it's high up in a tree, it'll bloom a really pretty bloom. But we've been pulling a lot of it off the ground. Look at how it just takes over here. So this would be good to, you know, I bet if you just threw it on a compost pile, it would probably root. Throw it in your normal burn pile, even though it's green. You know, put, 10, 20 pounds on it, and put, 50 or 100, 200 pounds of cardboard, paper, your dried leaves, and your sticks, and just, cook it, kill it. Or maybe we could do another stinkwater bucket with just this. We got plenty to do, like probably 10 stinkwater buckets here, but we're not going to do 10 stinkwater buckets with this. Maybe 1 though. Maybe we'll try. So this is going to be the 3rd bucket right here. Look at that. That's enough, unless it like sinks and melts really good down there over a period of like 6 or 8 weeks or so. And it might do some melting. It might keep some of the solids there. I just don't know until we see what happens. We got a little bit of hay and rainwater from Milton right here from this other bucket that we didn't need because it filled most of, these buckets are full or close to it. There's a little bit of room there for more rainwater. Let's seed it with just a little bit of our original stinkwater. This nasty, nasty stuff. Get this stuff on your hands because it takes a lot of time, not just putting soap on your hands 2 or 3 times to get that smell off. Get our little bit of duckweed rainwater here. Now the duckweed will survive this super nasty mess. Who knows? Tannin-rich water here that's been rained on for years, and it's so dark tea, black tea like, because of the high tannins in the leaves that's been falling in it from the right. Look at that. Looks like sweet tea. There we go. We got another one started. Are we going to start this guy, and where are we going to put it? Probably don't need more than 3 right here. And I'm not sure if I'm going to use these other buckets for something else or not. I'll show you something else too. So if you have one of these like carport systems, you get an all-in-one kit. Some of them have sidewalls, some of them don't. You know, they come with like a tarp and then some little bungee little connectors and some metal poles, sometimes plastic poles, and you put like a little gutter system underneath it. Now all these places here where it collects that leaves and stuff from the sky, that will turn into leaf mold over time, and those gutters will actually fill with leaf mold. Let's go. So I clean it out probably once a season, so you're not going to see a whole lot, but there'll be like, look at that. Look at that. It looks like pure dirt. There'll be earthworms in here. I've seen frogs. I've seen snakes. And, you know, and you can also clean the leaves off the top and just, you know, they're probably half rotten anyway. Put them in a bag or use them as mulch. But check that out. It's like an automated system. Just clean those gutters out once a year or so. And it's free soil. It's free nutrients. I really want to plant this gumi, but I don't know how much root system this guy has. So we might just have to wait. As bad as we want to do it, kind of sucks waiting. Despite just having a hurricane come through, it is such a gorgeous day. The last 2 days are gorgeous. Supposedly for the next week or so, it's going to be really nice, you know, sunny and cool and warm, you know, something for everybody, but not blistering hot. It's been a couple hours since we put this fig in the bottom water there, and it's not really getting the water all the way to the top. So I'm going to put this tannin-rich rainwater here on top and let it soak for another hour or so and take it out. The kids put their little bench or stepping stool here outside, but it needs to be washed up and taken back in. Still looking for a sign that the comfrey I planted in raised bed number 1 here is still alive. But, you know, it's going to be about impossible without pulling out the sweet potatoes or a frost or something to come in and knock everything out. And even if it is alive, you know, it could be so stressed, it could be like no leaves. You know, it could just be a tuber, a root in the ground that will come out in the spring or something. I do not know enough about it other than that they are very finicky here. And that's why everybody or most people are using Mexican sunflower, Mexican tithonia, the little yellow flowered version, not the red one, for their chop and draw. I often talk about elderberries that are everbearing. And obviously this guy here, I don't know if you can see the seed heads. It already has at least 2, maybe more. Actually, there's another one that's going to be flowering, and I just seen a full flower. Let me see. Right there, probably about 10 or 12 foot in the air, full flower. Definitely see another seed head through the weeds there, even though you may or may not be able to see it, or not the weeds, through the leaves, you know, its own leaves. But this has to be genetically different than the other ones that we've been calling everbearing. You know, they bear flowers and sometimes berries way past when they're supposed to. It's one of those things where it's not rare, but it's not so common that they usually are close, genetically different plants aren't usually growing close in the wild to produce berries or a lot of berries. So they'll flower and produce little or none. Often figured I'd come back in this banana mound here and look at this black Brazilian to see if it has produced any suckers or pups, and still no sign of it suckering, even though the other one, Orinoco or whatever this may be, has got at least one pup there, probably 5 foot tall, 6 foot.